week's recapped.
We've decided to start us off with some ASMR.
This was an incredibly stressful episode for me, and I think that it's a good idea if we recap in a very calming tone.
Yes, and I'll just have my blanket next to me. And this goldfish box.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, Shannon.
Good morning. I can never take ASMR seriously, literally on anything. Like any kind of ASMR ever, it freaks me out. So when listening to this bag will probably freak me. Last night was an episode that happened. It was frustrating to say the least.
It was, for me, it was annoying all the way through, right? But like it started to get peak frustration when things started happening, like falling in love with yous were exchanged. And all I could think to myself was like, clearly we missed so much because all we were focusing on was this dumb bullshit.
Yep.
And like, while the bullshit's entertaining, now I'm frustrated because like, I'm sorry, kids falling in love with him? Like what? Yeah. What?
They're on a one-on-one date? Like, I understand that the lead does not have much control over who gets these dates and all of that. But like, what? Kids seemed like such a random choice. It really did. Like, how much money is her mother paying so that she could have more time on screen in her mother's clothes? Like,
we can't, and I know that we can't, but so much of like my physical being right now wants to fast forward to that date because I just want to be like, who are you?
Kid is so frustrating, and I really hope that, like, whatever, we will get to
there.
It. Yeah. Anyway, but we have to start with this recap. Wait, is there anything that went down? Oh, wait a minute. I have to talk about this. I was talking about this on the stories yesterday, and it has been infuriating my inside being. So, for those of you who are not on Twitter, little Mr. Dylan Barber, who was on Hannah B's season of The Bachelorette, and then was on Bachelor in Paradise right after, and then is now dating Hannah G, which
they're engaged, ma'am.
Oh, they're. I know. I say dating because post-Bachelor in Paradise, they're always dating. Get married. They're always dating forever, and then eventually, sometimes a wedding happens. But honestly, you know what I bet? I bet they're gonna, if they get married and don't break up, they're gonna get married on Bachelor in Paradise. So they've been waiting for that shit to like happen. Anyway, so Dylan and Hannah got together on Bachelor in Paradise, did the whole proposal, whatever. They're dating still, and that was like 2 summers ago. So it's been a while. Anyway, Dylan, in his irrelevancy, because he is irrelevant. Hannah G has like 1.5 fucking million Instagram followers, but Dylan is only somewhere around like 650K, which like, geez, buddy. I mean,
that's interesting.
He fully needs her followers. Like I bet you all of his followers are because he is dating Hannah G. Like it. Anyway, so that part is irrelevant, only like background. So what happened on Twitter is that not yesterday, but the day before, so Sunday, Sunday I woke up to this. So it must have happened Saturday night. Either way, Dylan tweeted.
Yes, because I feel like I took the screenshots at night and then I sent them to you in the morning and then I felt bad.
I woke up to
I know it's early.
Multiple people sent me that. I am extremely happy that I have now made it to this point where everybody sends me the Bachelor shit they see all the time. I'm like, yes, great, amazing. So anyway, Dylan tweets essentially being like, I feel like he's like, cancel ABC. I feel like airing dirty laundry. Ask me anything. And so people start asking him questions in the replies, and they range everywhere from like, shit. Okay. I personally was not impressed by most of the quote unquote tea he spilled because it's all shit that we all just like kind of know. There was only one thing that I was like, oh, that's funny to know that specific answer, but I kind of assumed something along those lines anyway. So that being said, he answers a lot of questions about how, yes, the villains are stay only because of TV. They do not get paid to be on the show, but they do get paid in screen time, which we know. Villains, yeah, the last producer Rose is always for the fucking villain and a producer's pick it, that kind of shit, all of that stuff. He said that the lead doesn't ever remember the names at front, and they will say 3 names for the roses, go back, and then come back, say 3 more, go back away, come back. So it's like, obviously we know the lead isn't going to remember 35 fucking names on night 1. Like, we know that's the case, but it's like getting that detail of like, oh yeah, they leave and come back. That's funny. But so it's all like mostly small potato shit like that. And then someone asks, who do you think got like screwed over most by the producers? And this motherfucker says Jed. And if you don't know who Jed is, he was
consider yourself lucky.
He was the ring winner of Hannah B's Bachelorette season. Obviously Dylan and Jed are friends because they were on the same season. I also distinctly remember when Jed was getting canceled for both cheating on Hannah and also having a girlfriend while being on the show and literally having her guitar case on the show with him, et cetera, et cetera. So much went down. Anyway, so he said Jed got screwed over the most, and someone goes, what do you mean? Did he not really cheat? And he goes, he's like, yeah.
He just said
that's
yes.
What I mean. Yes. And
it was a one word yes. And it was like, are you saying that Jed, because I vividly remember this because I texted you about fucking semantics, because somebody was like, so what you're saying is Jed didn't cheat on Hannah? And he's like, yes. And it's like, that was never the question. No one thought he cheated on Hannah. It was him cheating on this other woman that he like had left at home.
So anyway, that was fucking frustrating to see him being like, Jed. Yeah, Jed got screwed over. So that was kind of when he stopped it. He like then tweeted again under his original tweet where he was like, all right, I'm done, but like, this was fun. I don't know what he fucking said. Doesn't matter. But he stopped it. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. He did say one thing. He did say that he thinks the show gives no support to these people after the show when they're getting full on like attacked by people. Like that part, I'm here with Dylan. Like, yes, the show should be better at supporting these people who are getting.
Well, you know about Love Island, right?
Flanked. No, what?
So, Love Island UK, there have been content warning, suicide and mental health issues. So please skip ahead about like 2 minutes if you do not want to hear this, just for a warning. But there are 2 contestants from Love Island that have committed suicide after the show. The woman that hosted has committed suicide since I think a year ago, but I don't know. I don't actually know because I just found out about her recently. But there was one woman who was like Miss Great Britain or like some type of like super crazy title, like basically like the Miss America, right? But for the UK. For the entire UK, I'm pretty sure. Or no, it doesn't matter. So she went on the show, ended up like sleeping with somebody on the show, and it's all on camera, and they played it, and like she got the news while she was airing that they had stripped her of her title. Like Great Britain, like the organization, she is no longer Miss anything. Like they completely stripped her of her title because it was they were airing it in like real time, basically. Like a week would go by on the show and then they would air anyway. So she had slept with somebody and like she starts panicking. She's like, this is out of character. This is not me. And like she starts spiraling. All of this stuff is happening in her like actual real professional life, her career. And like that started spiraling. And then she kind of spearheaded this movement against the show where it's like if you're going to cause people emotional distress like this intentionally, then you do need to be held responsible and like you need to provide aftercare.
Yes.
And like it picked up a lot of traction, and I'm not really I'm not well versed in like where they're at right now or like how that kind of ended up. But I vividly remember while I was watching the show finding out about this because it's true. And like, we know this, we've seen snippets, we've heard snippets of their contracts, like what legally ABC is allowed to do, like all of literally this type of shit.
Anything they, for anybody who doesn't know, these contracts for The Bachelor are literally basically signing away their entire life rights. Like they have
Isn't there like autonomy. Isn't there a civil rights clause? I don't want to like speak out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure it like
fucking I'll have to listen back. There is an episode of Game of Roses where they go through the whole contract because someone either posted something or it's online. I don't know what it is, but it was talked about. So it's probably, honestly, I think it's on Reddit somewhere.
No, if you just keep talking, I'll find it by the time.
But anyway, but no matter what, these contracts, they don't mess around. They make sure that you have that's why people like Dylan. So like Dylan is on Twitter, right? And he's like airing dirty laundry, blah, blah, blah. Well, so if you look at the clock, it's about 2 years since he was on Bachelor in Paradise. And that means your contract is up and you can start saying some shit. That's when people start writing their books and they have their little tell-alls and they come out and they do the vibe of like, I want to either fully separate from this Bachelor world or I will stay in it. And Dylan is, I guess, attempting to show himself separate, but I don't fucking buy it. He's a Gemini. So wait, did you find it?
Sorry.
All right. Anyway, so did you find the contract?
Okay. I'll cut it out because it was after they did their before the GOAT recaps, right?
I think so. Oh, are you trying to find it on the episode? Good luck.
No, I'm just trying to find the episode title. I feel like didn't they?
Oh, I see. I have no clue. I think it was part of I think it was maybe a Twibbin.
What's happening in La Quinta? Okay, I know it was around this time. Right? Wasn't it around when they dropped What's Happening in La Quinta?
I think it was, yeah, somewhere in that zone.
We will link it in the description we'll find it after the fact and we'll put a link to it if anyone wants to go listen to it.
Yeah. But either way, they have no fucking rights. So it doesn't surprise me that Dylan for 5 minutes is wanting to try to cancel them. However, so getting back to this point. So Dylan was tweeting all this stuff, stops and it's done. And then obviously Bachelor Instagram, Bachelor Twitter is picking it up. Everybody's talking about it. And then all of a sudden it was, I think it was Bachelor Reality on Instagram. Let me find the screenshot because I know I screenshot this. Wait, oh, no, just kidding. It was Bachelor Data. Bachelor Data posted that it says, it's a screenshot of an Instagram page, which has no posts, and it's called Jed Talks Pod. And the caption of this story says, FYI, looks like the Dylan Twitter questions yesterday were just promo for Jed launching a podcast. And Jed, of course, follows the account. Here we are. Here's a screenshot. So obviously when I saw that, immediately I was like, of course, because...
But we knew
that this was all bullshit.
No,
like,
but not
why
even
are we
that,
talking
but
about... Yeah.
The second that he responded and was like, wow, guys, like might just fuck around and start a podcast. It would be electric. And people like we knew. Like I was
Wait,
like,
did Jed respond that literally? I think I missed that.
No. Dylan said that. But like one of the women said that. He's like, yeah, I might fuck around and start a podcast. Like it would be electric in like all capital letters. And I remember seeing it and the way he worded it and the way that he was saying like it would be electric. I was like, he has a podcast. I was like, someone has a podcast. Like, this is an advertisement. I was like, this is fucking marketing. The second I saw that tweet.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear what anything Jed has to say. I don't give a fuck. How about that?
I will listen to one episode.
No, obviously we have to figure it out what the fuck is going to happen on that dumbass podcast.
I'll listen to one. Only the opener.
So
even if I like it, I won't listen to a second, but I'm going to listen to the one. And I'm sure I won't like it.
Yep. So... I'm looking
Dylan
at
just makes me feel
Twitter.
Icky. Like,
so all right, everybody.
Dylan, I'm just not.
The astrological players here. Jed is a Capricorn and Gemini. Dylan is a Gemini, and Hannah G on the sidelines is an Aquarius. So what is very annoying to me about this whole thing is that Jed is a Capricorn and he fucking is smart, and this is bothers me because as much as I want to say it, or as much as I don't want to say it, Jed and Victoria are smart. They are not as stupid as they look. They are smart. It's very annoying. Or look, seem, whatever, act. Jed knows Dylan has Hannah G, who is a beloved, like everyone loves her, right? She's got no problems. She's just fucking annoying to me. So he's got Hannah G, who has her 1.5 million followers. And as long as he stays attached to her, he will always get bumps up, right? Jed sees this and is like, oh, who's my bro from that season still? Oh, Dylan. Dylan's still my bro. Gemini, Dylan is obviously easy to play both sides. He will happily be like, oh, yeah, like, whatever, bad. Jed was bad, but also Jed was good. Jed's fine. Like, he's my bro. Because Dylan was always someone who was still all over Jed's shit whenever the show was done.
Yeah, they were never not friends.
Yeah, they were always friends. So fucking annoying. So, and men will love to defend each other for this, for not cheating and cheating. Okay, you don't know shit. You don't know. No. So this Capricorn gets piggybacks off this Gemini and his following and his non-banishment, because Jed is banished, whether like he is banished from Bachelor Nation.
How many followers does Jed have on Instagram? Did you say that? No, you said Dylan's.
No, but I'll look. Anyway, so that whole shit. So he like nothing is random, and that is why, like, I had a friend who was texting me about this, and she was like, well, of course everyone thinks it's a game, and I'm like, well, no, like, plenty of people think this shit is real. And that's the thing, is like, plenty of people think this shit's real still. Or else the show would not be on the air. And so it's like, I'm thinking about all this happening. I'm like, no, this information isn't enough. And now I understand, because it was just promotion. It was not, even if he was trying to spill the tea, his Gemini ass was not giving me enough. And so guess what? He fucking deleted all the tweets. He deleted them all. So
every single one.
Everything is irrelevant. It's all fucking stupid.
282,000. So
he also, yeah. Oh God.
For a ring winner.
282. Meanwhile, Dylan is like fucking out here like, oh, I'll retweet Bachelor Nation that's tweeting about me rewatching my
exactly. He's saying cancel ABC.
And then no. And then also, he has a retweet from Chris Bukowski saying he'd subscribe to his podcast, but that, of course, deleted tweet. And then he's like back to regularly scheduled programming, Lupin on Netflix. And then Hannah G posted on her story that she was dealing with Dylan's Twitter rant, LOL. So anyway,
that's the thing, like, no one cares. Like, yeah. We talked about this, like, when we were talking about the screenshots when it was happening in real time. Like, this seemed very much like, I need to be relevant. So, like, what can I tell people that's not actually tea but sounds like tea, so I can, like, seem pissed off?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I want to make
that all sounded big and scary, and OMG, the producers really pick people for him.
None of that was a fucking secret.
Idiots. Like,
anyone who's been watching this show for a while knows all of that.
I'm sorry, Middle America, if any of that was surprising to you and you're offended. Like, I'm sorry, but like, pay attention. This show is a game. This show is fake. This show is not real. But it's also not scripted. Do you ever get those people who are like, oh my God, The Bachelor's so scripted? And I'm like,
prompted and scripted are not the same.
I was like, you don't understand the levels. Back to ASMR.
I noticed this episode, and like, it works both ways, but I realized, so for the listeners, I'm back on Twitter for the first time in like a couple of years, purely to live tweet The Bachelor. So this will probably end up becoming the podcast's unofficial /official Twitter, because it'll be just me fucking ranting the whole episode. But I noticed while I was on Twitter live tweeting last night that there are two types of Bachelor fans. There are two types of franchise fans. There are fans like us that, like, we not necessarily hate watch, like, that's a little strong, but like, we watch it with like a really cynical, right? That's what I mean. Like, we watch it with a really cynical eye, and like, we watch it for like what's actually happening. Like, we're not falling into the fantasy. And then so there's us,
the sports watchers.
Right. But so there's two fans, and then there's like the us fans, and then there's like the fans that would be the type of people to own and operate like Ariana Grande fan accounts.
Yeah.
Like people who exhibit fan behavior.
Fandom,
you know, like fan people.
Yes. It is interesting. Yeah, Bachelor Twitter is wild because it is it is the perfect representation of half the people watching because they know that it's a game and that it's fun to watch how it all unfolds, and then half the people watching who think it's somewhat real and then fall in love with all these people and then put their whole projection of their own lives onto these couples that then break up most of the time. Like, there is only a few couples that are together from this season, from this entire show, but whatever. I feel like we could go off forever on this part, but essentially, Dylan, you ain't slick. That was not tea. And if you're going to try to cancel ABC, try harder next time. Thank you. And literally no one listen to Jed's podcast. We will listen to it and then tell you what happens on it. But but
I'll
don't
be objectively
add,
honest.
Yeah, don't add more listens.
I'll try
So anyway,
to see what his deal is. See if he's changed.
So anyway, let's start with this episode because this episode was absurd, but also like felt slow. Like it was slow, but not. But also the first
because the vibe distinctly changed halfway through. We went went from Real World to The Bachelor. Like we got two shows in one.
We really finally are getting a Bachelor vibes. Like we're gonna get the like 2-on-1 thing and all that. But anyway, which we'll get to that. So
I can't wait to get there.
Start off this episode with the Victoria cold open breakdown, which we obviously see later. But it's a really quick like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I just I'm gonna throw up, and then it zooms us back to where we are, and it's Kit and Victoria walking around Nemacolin like in this like on a it's like they're literally being filmed by a drone. They are small little people walking on the sidewalk which is like stretched through a middle of a huge grass. Like it's clearly a path. It's funny. And then it seems to make them it pretends that they're all like, we're all in our morning walks. But then it's
keeping
Ryan
themselves sane at Nemacolin.
Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, Ryan and Brittany are walking, and Kit and Victoria are overheard talking shit, and just like Victoria is just straight up like, they're like so fucking annoying. Ew, like, ugh, gotta hate them. Like, wow, like it's just like stupid. Nothing.
So the hazing hasn't even started yet.
Oh God. Which
is funny because I thought we weren't in a sorority.
Right? Oh, oops. And then Ryan and Brittany walk by, and they do, as you said, the true double pass by, and of course they don't talk. No words are said as they pass each other. And then Ryan and Brittany are like, oh my God, I'm just like so over it. And then we zoom inside to we zoom away from, so it's like that was in the morning and now we're at nighttime. We've zoomed, like the time in this front part of this episode was so sporadic. We zoom into nighttime now, and it's before the rose ceremony, and Anna and MJ are talking, and Anna is like, I'm fine with her. I don't like give a fuck about it anymore. And she's talking about Brittany. And then MJ tells her, you did the right thing.
When?
MJ is adding her name up to my shit list. What right thing did she do by spreading that horrible, obviously untrue rumor? And even if it is true, it doesn't matter.
Women are the fucking worst.
You did not do the right thing. This is my moment of starting to, so like, this is a self-drag. So MJ's a Sagittarius, and I have been in MJ's spot where I'm talking to someone who's pulled some shit, and I will say like, yeah, like you're totally fine, because I like that person. And it's frustrating because Sagittarius is that mutable fire where they are going to like have their opinions, but it's also like they're down to sit next to anybody and say whatever. However, my problem is I don't think, and this is the false opinion, I think this is the real opinion to Anna, and then she's trying to be a little more coy about it in front of everybody else, which doesn't end up working, obviously. Anyway, then Katie is talking about how there is bad energy. She calls the house toxic, and then Anna she's like, I'm finally feeling above some people, as in like above them in the count as far as like getting a rose. And then it's just like a lot of bullshit. Victoria's still pushing the OG versus the newbie thing. And then Matt comes in to give his little anti-bullying speech. Should have got Rachel Lindsay in. Oh my God, I can't believe we've had both black leads, two black leads having to talk about bullying to people. Jesus Christ.
Do they not talk about it every season though?
yeah, but not like in this way where the lead has to address something. And I'm more talking about Rachel having to come on doing the anti-bullying thing on that one after the final rose. And it's like, of course, you're going to put the black woman up to talk about anti-bullying when she gets the most hate for Bachelor Nation entirely. Ugh, I digress. But Matt isn't more annoying than Rachel. Rachel, we stand. Matt, do not stand. Anyway, so he says, I want to address something I've been told about the house. There's a mob mentality and a culture of bullying and an us versus them. And I wanted to address rumors floating around that could potentially ruin someone's life. And then he says, if you have to belittle someone, oh, wait, Anna's face. Can you mimic Anna's face? Because it was literally like, they kept zooming into her face and it was just like.
She went from like anxious, like she was like, oh my God, like something's happening, to like,
oh fuck, it's happening. It's me. Like
I can't even, I consider myself a decent actress and I can't even mimic Anna's facial expressions because like I'm not, my muscles aren't even that fucking animated. Like I physically can't move my face like that.
I cannot believe how her face is, man. Like she cannot hide a single emotion. Like there's nothing.
I have one of those teeth spinners. Do you want me to get it?
Oh my God.
No, that's mean. She
didn't pull the teeth as much this time. She doesn't pull teeth this time.
I have no space to talk shit. I have no space to talk shit because like when I'm stressed out or I'm anxious or I'm like feeling something, I do some weird shit with my mouth too.
I cannot hide anything in my face either. Like my facial reactions to situations are just like that. I'm a Gemini rising. I get you, Anna. It's hard to hide it, but also you got to do a little bit better, especially when you're on this show. So anyway, she makes this extremely horrible face, like, and she goes pale very much so, and is like, and so Matt then says, if you have to belittle someone to shine, that's not a quality I want in a wife. And Anna's face is all over all of the girls. Then he leaves with Brittany. And then immediately all the girls are like, who told him? And
can I be totally honest? And I don't really understand. Okay. So I know that Katie's been getting a lot of praise and Katie deserves a lot of praise. Like Katie's been saying a lot of like very level-headed things and they've been very refreshing. But like, I would have expected with the energy that I've gotten from Katie, I would have expected Katie to be like, well, I did because you guys were fucking assholes.
I disagree.
Why? I'm so shocked.
It's because, so Katie has all these earth signs in her chart and she has a Mercury Sagittarius. And so her earth sign, she's got a Capricorn sun. I think she's a Virgo moon. Fuck, I should just pull it up. I'm trying to guess. But she's a Taurus. Like she's got every earth sign in her main chart. But then she's a Mercury Sagittarius and a Libra rising. And that is what we're watching here because the earth signs in her are what has been speaking up this whole time. The Sagittarius Mercury is also someone who's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go tell Matt right now. Like it's just like I can't even hold it in anymore. It's
like the impulsive,
right? But her Libra rising is what I was watching, and I even put this on the story on the Instagram last night while watching that. Her Libra rising was so apparent to me in this moment because Libras are all about fairness and justice and equality. And it's funny because I actually think MJ might be a Libra rising too, because of the way she's like, I preach fairness and and fairness and peace and harmony. Right.
See, I think she's just a liar. I think that's
she's a liar too, but I also think that as a Libra rising, you could think you do that and then like mess up because you're not. Anyway, so
see, I think she knows that she doesn't do that. I think she's just trying to save face. I think she's trying to say the only thing she can think of.
I think that unfortunately, because she's such a Sagittarius and such a fiery person, she doesn't know. I know that it's impossible to imagine someone being not that self-aware, but I genuinely don't think that she is right now. Sagittarius unfortunately are very unself-aware for a long time until they have that moment of being forced to see themselves. I actually feel like she might become more self-aware after this. MJ, watching her. Victoria? No. Victoria will literally never become self-aware. She's that person. But I digress.
This is like when we start to see the editing really, like I tweeted it and I told you about it. Like the editors gave no fucks. Like they sat there and said like, oh, you want to be a hypocrite? Like you want to be unaware of like this, you know what I mean? Like, and they're like, she did this. I didn't do that. Does this. I didn't say that. And like, they really just laid it the fuck out there. I am embarrassed for her.
Yeah, agreed. But anyway, so Katie, Libra rising, she's all about the fairness and the justice and all of that stuff, which is why she's bringing these things up. But then in that moment, amongst the women, amongst her cohorts. Libras love to be liked amongst their people. Katie already knows she's been under fire most of the time. I think she did the exact proper thing, which is just be like, nah. Because in my opinion, she didn't tell on, I mean, she told on, you know, I guess she told on Anna, but she didn't tell on Anna. Like she did not tell on it. She didn't tell exactly, on though. Any person.
Exactly, which is why I would have thought she would have done it, because she had nothing to be like, yeah, I mean, I just told him that like some shit was going on. I didn't tell him to do this. Like all I did was bring it to the attention that something was happening. Katie,
I think that I was surprised at first too that she didn't say anything. But as I thought about it, I was like, you know, I think she's done her job. And I think at that point, she's probably sitting there being like, you know what?
Like, I feel like if she had been like, Anna said this, MJ said this, Victoria said this, then I would be like, okay, yeah, like you don't need to like throw yourself under the bus. Like it'll come out. You don't need to rush to don't run to the chopping block. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because she really was, that's been her whole thing. Like I'm diplomatic, I'm tactful, and I'm level-headed. So like I maintained the same energy throughout. And of course I told him. You're dumb to think I wouldn't have told him.
Right. Well, either way, I think it made sense to me that she didn't do it. And I kind of like that the women had to unravel, because the other thing that's fucking stupid, like the other thing they're not really paying attention to is like a producer could have told Matt, like obviously we know that this didn't happen, but like, yeah, producers could have been like, hey, you're going down, you should go say something just to scare them. Like that. Anyway, I digress. So, then Brittany goes to, so obviously everybody's freaking out. Katie says she was feeling uncomfortable. And then she goes, I think the reason people are so upset is because they messed up and they know it. And I'm like, love it.
Yeah.
So then Brittany's talking to Matt and she tells Matt directly what the rumor was. And Matt's fucking face was just like, huh? Matt, I can't wait till we play the Moon Rising game later, because I firmly have my pick. Like I have my pick, and I will, if he's not this, I will be shocked. So
I can't wait to hear what you say, because I feel the same, but you obviously know more than me.
Oh, but I bet you think it's like, what's funny is you probably feel it, and I just know the answer, like the actual informational answer, where you're like,
God,
no,
he's such a dummy.
He's so fucking stupid. The way
that he goes about this whole,
the way he goes about this whole fucking episode. Oh my God. Okay. So she's talking to Matt and she's like, yeah, you know, I'm freaking out because like my mom watches this show. I've never been bullied before, which is funny because when she said that, I was like, yeah, Aquarius, you were probably the bully. And it's just like an Aquariuses are either the bully who thinks that they were like a perfectly wonderful, nice person, or they're the total outcast who was like the total weirdo and didn't give a fuck, and then also was kind of mean. Honestly, it's like Liz Lemon from 30 Rock, where she thinks she was bullied all the time, and then she goes to her high school reunion and they're like, you were so mean to us. And it was like, that's like very Aquarius
or even
vibe.
Like
just
Matt with the locker room talking like, you're an asshole. If you're an Aquarius, you're an asshole. You may not realize it, and it might not be bad, but I think you're an asshole.
Everybody, it's like, okay, we all can be assholes, right? I'm an Aquarius. We are Aquarius Saturns out here with our Saturn return, and that is a big generational moment. Our kind of micro generation are assholes. So it's like I just can call them like I see it with these Aquarius people. Anyway, Brittany, no shade to you. I have know nothing about you, and you seem perfectly fine.
Yeah, sure.
That was just my first. Chill. I know that was just my first thought when she was like, "I've never been bullied before." I was like, "Yeah, you were probably the bully." But anyway, she's a Scorpio moon too, so it's just like, yeah. When people say like bullying shit, I'm always just like, okay. So anyway, so she was like, I've never been bullied, blah, blah, blah. He goes, okay, wait, now this is where I start judging Matt. His response to this was that he obviously was like, he said something about like, that is unacceptable. I'm not okay with that, blah, blah, blah. But then he goes, I could see a future with you. That's why you're still here. You have talked to her one time, Matt. How is it that you could see a future with every single one of these women?
He just
says it to everyone. He says it to everyone.
I think, okay, so I think, well, and this kind of goes into like what we were talking about, like big, lovable dummy and like his moon and rising sign, because I feel like for Matt, it's like, I'm sorry, like very Sagittarius.
It's literally
but like
he's, it's,
I can't not see a future with you.
Yes.
So until I like definitively know that it's a no, it's always going to be like kind of a yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. You just drags the shit out of it. Cause that's exactly that. Like Sagittarius, again, mutable. So mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And those 4 signs are very changeable. Like they're constantly moving through, like they're the end. Those 4 signs are the last sign before we turn over to a new like season, as far as like fall, spring, summer, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the mutable energy is like, oh, it's the shifting of the seasons. So it's always ready to change. So with Matt, I have been that Sagittarius to be like, oh my God, I totally see it with you. And then the second I don't see it, I'm like, oh, no, I don't. Because yeah, Sagittariuses are always there. They are the future seekers. Like they always look ahead, and it's always a grass is always greener thing, which is why Sagittariuses are known as commitment phobes, because they're the kind of people who are like, oh, I'm so happy in this relationship, but what if I were happier in this other one? Like,
yeah.
And so it's like, even if you're the happiest you'll ever been, Sagittarius always assumes there's something more. And so until they finally hit that point of to themselves that like, no, this is what I have is good, and I can just keep having good things. And like anyway, so it takes them a long time to settle down, not because they don't want to. Like Sagittariuses can be amazing long-term partners. It's just that you have to be prepared for them to be ready to do the next thing. And
yeah. So
that being said, when he's out here sitting here like, yeah, I could see it with you. You're right. He could see it with any of these women until he can't.
Exactly.
Like with Anna or Victoria or all of this. So that's why he can say to all these women, while we are like, why the fuck are you saying that to Victoria? You think that they'd be a good match? It's like he's only seeing what's right here. Like I'm putting my hands up like horse blinders. They're only seeing what right here. And he's not seeing all this other bullshit until he physically cannot avoid it. Until multiple women are coming to tell him all this bullshit. And now, as that tweet he had, he's definitely watching back like, holy fuck.
I hope they all are. I'm going to look at Anna's Instagram actually, because I don't know if Anna's posted anything.
Anna has been very quiet on Instagram.
I mean, fuck, I would too. I'd be embarrassed as hell.
Yup. She hasn't posted anything since January 24th, which was the day before her episode aired of her getting her spewed shit. She has no current stories. Yeah. Anna is hiding. Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's fucking embarrassing. Girl, just come on and apologize. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
That's the thing. And like, I just don't get... Anyway. Sorry. I could go off about Anna. We'll get there.
We'll get there. We will get there. So anyway, Brittany, whatever. His go-to line is, I could see a future with you. That's why you're still here. He has said that to multiple women. He has multiple go-to lines, and he says that all of them in this episode again. And then MJ is back to telling Anna that she needs to make him feel better. She goes, and I actually loved, this was one moment that I liked MJ in this episode. When she was telling Anna, she was like, I know it's annoying, but you have to go talk to Matt. And this is a Gemini and a Sagittarius. These two oppositions are talking to each other, right? And Anna's just like she's sitting there like this, like with her arms crossed, and she's like pouting, and she's like, I just like, whatever. Like, okay, I guess I do have to do it. I have to go talk to him. I have to do it. Her Taurus Mars does not want to be wrong. And she has no evidence. She has nothing. And then she goes I quoted this because I said this in our Gemini meme of Anna. She goes, the fact that it all is biting me in the butt now. Yeah, girl, that gossip you spread will bite you in the ass. That's what happens.
Well, it's like, anyway, I'm big on this whole actions having consequences thing. Yeah, like I'm really fucking loving it.
Finally. So anyway, we go to commercial and then we come back. Rachel says some shit. She's like, she may not have made up that rumor, but she spread it. Rachel, shut up. She made it up. Anna, so in her interview, she goes, it just sucks. Like the guy I've given up my life for has an opinion of me that's so not accurate.
Okay.
Oh God, girl.
Straight up. I know that these women have to have some level of intelligence, right? Like, did they not understand like math? Like, did they not understand statistics, probability, like any of that shit? Like all of those women put their life on hold to be on this show. And you have to know that your chances of making it are 1 in 32. What's that percentage? Let me do that.
Or for this season, because they added more women. It's just
that's a 3% chance of fucking winning this show.
remember
3%.
I think you were the one that said it too, that Anna definitely came on this show trying to be the Bachelorette.
Okay, and that's it though. It's like you're not putting your life on hold for Matt. You're putting your life on hold hoping that this is like a really good investment in yourself. This has nothing to do with that fucking relationship, and this has everything to do with what you are going to gain after the fact. We know that. You hope that you get a relationship out of it because like that would be fucking cool. Like falling in love would be sick.
Yeah.
But like 100,000 followers minimum are going to be pretty fucking sick too. And like that is your driving force. Like that's your fucking motivation. And I know that they can't say that because we saw what happened to Jed. Like we know that that's not something that they can like outright say, but they can tone back. They can tone it down on the bullshit, like just a little bit.
Where were we?
The very beginning.
Oh, no, but I said I was about to self-drag.
Yes.
All right. Anna has obviously, so she sits down to talk to Matt, and the first thing she starts saying, she does this Gemini thing that I've done. So she's a Gemini sun and I'm a Gemini rising. She's a Libra moon, and this is also very airy. This whole interaction was very air sign, but this makes me have thoughts on her rising sign, and I'm wondering if there's a water placement, a water rising sign. So what she says is, I am so sad and upset with myself. The first thing you should know before even coming here, or that's the first thing you should know, as in, I'm so sad and upset with myself. She's like, I'm writing all of this in run-on sentence, so if I have to pause and go back, that's why. Before even coming here, I received messages about a girl who was also here. And when she did show up, the worst thing I could say was said. Immediately, I felt horrible about it. This is me being the most shallow person ever. Like,
tell yourself some more, why don't you?
Like, I have no problem when you can take responsibility and understand that you have done something shallow or you have maybe said something out of character. But the way that she piles on here is very annoying to me because it inevitably, it's very fucking clear she's only doing this. And also while this is happening, she is fake crying so much, like especially when Matt starts crying, she was like, she is trying to push tears out so badly here. So she's fake crying when Matt says, to me, I was just shocked because when I met Brittany a few days ago, she was spunky and sweet. And then tonight she just fully broke down. And this is where Anna starts to fake cry. And I literally have in here, I was like, Anna is playing this fake cry thing is so bad. And then Matt says, you're not a horrible person. I've been in your shoes. LOL, you definitely are in his shoes. He's in your shoes right now with the body shaming shit for Victoria. LOL.
Right, I'm so curious what he was talking about.
Every Sagittarius has been in her shoes. Every Sagittarius has said what he says. He goes, I've said things out of turn in the dead that I didn't mean. That's every Sagittarius ever. I've been there too. But this is when he goes, but I have to follow my heart. And this is when she actually starts crying. She does not start really crying until this man is like, I have to send you home. Like, you have to leave. Anna, unfortunately, I can't see you being a part of that journey anymore. He has such a perfect little exit. He just is. I wish he could say something more substantial. Like, but he is not Matt is not your anti-bullying king. Okay. Not you to you, everybody listening. No, yeah. Matt is not your anti-bullying king. Matt is someone who finally was like, I don't want to be with he's just I don't want to be with someone who's doing all this bullshit. Like, that doesn't mean that he's anti-bullying because again, we have seen him laughing over body shaming comments. Anyway, yeah. But this is when she is fully fucking sobbing. The real tears only come out when she finds out she's going home and realizes she doesn't get to be Bachelorette. And because she didn't give a fuck about Matt. Like, come on. So stupid.
She didn't know him. They didn't have any time together, remember?
And then they walk out, or he walks her out, and all the women are pretending to be shocked. What's happening? Oh my God, what's he doing? Just whatever. And then someone, I don't know who said it. I think it was, I don't have a quote on this, but someone says he doesn't need to be with someone where that could come out of her mouth.
She says that.
Oh, you're right. Anna did say that with more victimizing. And this is why I think she's a water rising, and I would give it a Pisces, but she doesn't have the Pisces rising look to me, so it's hard. It would be hard. I mean, I could maybe guess it. If she was Pisces rising, she'd be ruled by Jupiter. What's her Jupiter? I don't know. But either way, this whole thing was very annoying. She was the peak Gemini vibe, but the whole exit was very watery, and she's a Libra moon, so I'm just like, where's the fucking water in her? Where's the rest of the water in her chart?
Well, it's funny because, like you said, she can tell that her like bachelorette dreams are coming crashing down. So it seems to me, the way that I saw it was that she's sitting in the back of that car and she's like, how can I fucking redeem myself? Like, how can I make myself seem like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a redeemable character.
Yeah,
and
she's
it's like
trying
her
to,
weird like self-realization, like I'm a bitch. Like, wow, I can't.
Horrible. But then
I'm so awful. And it's like weird. You're trying to get like people to be like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, because I've been there. Like, girl, I've literally played this card. I've done the whole, oh my God, I'm the worst person ever. I'm so sorry, because you just want the conversation to end and you want them to turn around and be like, you're not horrible, which is what he said. But anyway, I also really love whenever these women leave or whenever we get to fully see their story arc. I love looking back at what I wrote about them. And for Anna, I wrote, Anna's caffeinated entrance said it all. She has a lot of energy to spare. True. A social butterfly and chatterbox. She could come off as indecisive or gossipy, but ultimately wants a partner to keep up with her when she's on the go. I mean, yes, I guess there was a preview involved, but I wrote most of these way before most
prior.
Of these were. Yeah. Anyway, I just love being right. She must be, I think she could be a Cancer rising. She has the cheeks. Like she has those pushed up cheeks, even though.
And also, you know that she's like gone into seclusion. She's become like a recluse. Like,
so
she's a puddle right now.
I absolutely would believe she's a Cancer rising, because that would put her Gemini sun. I would put her Gemini sun in the 12th house, which of course, when your identity is in question, what do? Isolate, hide. That's literally the 12th house. That's what it means. So if you have any placements in your 12th house, you probably like to hide out and seclude. And 12th house, without looking it up, it's basically if you have any planets in the sign that is before your rising sign. So I'm a Gemini rising, so my 12th house is Taurus. Both of our 12th houses are Taurus. Okay. And you don't have any Taurus placements, do you? No. I don't think. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. I mean, it's
I don't think I have any Earth placements at all.
Yeah. We only have Capricorn, Uranus, Neptune, and I have a Capricorn Venus. But I don't. But yeah. Yeah, you're just water, air, and fire. Anyway, so all right, Anna's out. Bye, bitch. Bye, Anna. Hey. So then after this is when Catalina stands up and gets her screen time moment before she gets axed. And she talks to the group about how she's been putting on a brave face and said it hurt. And then this is when it's the apology tour, baby. And all the women show their asses, and Kit is first, and she's like, I'm so sorry for not being more open. And then Serena C in an ITM or in her little interview, she says, there's a lot of kiss assery going on.
And there is. She is completely
Which is
correct.
True, but it's also like, girl, you better fucking kiss ass because you were one of the bitches. Like,
I do actually, I kind of appreciate that she didn't, that we saw, because like the whole, I think the word fake is like thrown around quite often on this show with no real validity. But I appreciate that if she's sitting there and she's like, I don't fucking care. She's like, I'm here for Matt and I'm not here for you guys. So like her being unapologetic would not only be canon for like this character that she's created for herself, whether it's real or not, but like I didn't like that all of the women were apologizing. So while like in theory an apology would be correct only if it's genuine, and I don't think it would have been genuine.
Well, so it's funny because that's the struggle with The Bachelor, is that like nothing is genuine. In theory is genuine because everyone's trying to look good on TV. Yeah. But also I'm sure half of these women apologizing were somewhat genuine. I actually kind of believe Kit being a little bit more like Kit's annoying on her own accord, but I do think Kit was more like, yeah, okay, my bad, guys. Like I think that, but the one that I was the most bothered by.
It's like, I think Kit's just a follower. I think that she thinks it's cute until it's not cute anymore.
Right. Exactly. She's not the true head mean girl.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's the Gretchen Wieners, you know.
She wants to think that she's the head of the pack, but she's not.
No. Meanwhile, the head of the pack, Regina George, aka Queen Victoria, is the one who thinks she needs to start to pretend to apologize. And that's where I was like, nope, you need to shut the fuck up. Like, you better shut the fuck up, bitch. Like, absolutely not. Like, I'm okay with anybody needing to apologize, whatever. But Victoria, you got a lot of fucking nerve. Because that one I'm like, fake. This is being like, she says that she thinks, sorry, Brittany, I think that she goes, I think you were treated unfairly. And
I know that because it was by me.
Because I was the one who was talking to Anna about the rumor originally. And I am the problem.
That's what made me laugh so hard. I actually made a note of that too, because she sat there and she's like, I'm so sorry that you felt uncomfortable. And it's like, you did that. You did that.
You did it every time, every day. And it's not even just with these women, it's every day with all of the women. You need to shut the fuck up.
Shannon. She brought them joy.
She brought joy in the house. And then Ryan goes to Matt's and then spills some tea from off camera.
I love this.
I was obsessed with, because there is about a million things people could get Victoria off for, but it had to be a new girl. And Ryan, this was an expert, like, honestly, play of the game for me. Ryan, this was beautiful because she tells Matt, obviously she starts with the blanket bullying stuff, but then she's narrows in on Victoria, and she says that Victoria knew or heard that she was a dancer. Ryan was a dancer. And that means Victoria called her a hoe. Yeah. But so Matt is, this is so fucking annoying because in his little interview moment off to the side, not to Ryan, he's like, I always thought Victoria had a big heart. Fucking idiot.
Which was that was his excuse on paper, because he's like, this is a producer pick and I have to make it seem like I was
well, I don't know. He said to fucking Victoria that he thought they'd be a good match. Again, he's just spouting shit to her. Anyway, we all know she's definitely still producer pick. He probably would have sent her home earlier. But this is when Victoria, we go to her and she's in her... Well, first of all, I thought Victoria was looking very good tonight.
I like that dress. I hated that I like that dress.
It was funny. That is the same sentiment all of my friends had. And it's very funny to me because I'm like, she wore her perfect last night outfit. I think she knew that she was out tonight somehow, even if she wasn't. And I think she was like, I'm a stunt, because that's what she did. Back to, this is when Victoria starts to say, I'm always playful. I'm never like malicious. And then this is when Victoria is talking to Ryan after Ryan talks to Matt, because Ryan tells Victoria, like, yeah, you came up because I was drinking. And this is when she's like, I'm always playful. And then she goes, this is when Victoria to Ryan says, it just makes your actions look fake toward me that you go talk to Matt about me. And it's like,
yep. Just like how you went and talked to Matt about Marilyn. Was that fake?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. And then this is when Victoria storms off and is all pissed. And she's like, I'm the perfect person to be his wife. So these people keep being annoying and getting in my way, and they're fake as shit.
I actually made a note about this, and I was going to mention it earlier in the recording. But up until about halfway through, I had a really hard time taking this episode seriously, because this was all Frankenbites.
Yeah, it was a lot of weird
almost
shit
this like whole beginning. Also, the whole thing.
Also, Chelsea, if you notice in her ITMs before the rose ceremony, she's in a completely different dress.
Yeah, it's like the whole beginning of this episode, it was really hard because we want to sit here and we want to like analyze it and break it down, but like we know that it's no longer impossible for us to do it accurately, because like this is a clear demonstration that this is not how this went down. Like it is almost, if you listen, I didn't even have to like rewind it, because normally you have to like rewind and be like, oh, was that? I was like listening to it and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, they didn't even, the editors gave no fucks this episode. They were like, we have a story to tell. We're going to tell it however we can.
Gotta get it out. Yep.
Yeah.
We have an hour to do this. We have an hour to close out half this drama because it was the first full hour segment of the show was Anna Victoria wrap up drama.
Yeah. And it was just crazy. Like this whole part of Victoria was, as you're like listening to this happen, you're just like, none of these are legitimate sentences. Like not one of these came out of her mouth like this.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, so then Victoria goes off to talk to Matt. And before this, she's obviously telling the producers that the girls are fake as shit and they're not his wives. She says she sits down with him, and the first thing she does is compliment him. Smart. She says she loves what he said and how he handled the situation. And he goes, thank you. Is that so?
Are you sure about that?
And she says that she does have a few things that she can work on. And then Matt does the dumbass man move, which is say, well, when Katie mentioned that there was bullying going on, I literally wanted to reach into the screen and fuck him, just like his fucking forehead. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, just like a quick little flick on the nose.
That was the biggest evidence that he is not a Scorpio moon. That right there. He has to be a Sagittarius moon because a Scorpio moon would never.
They would know.
Would keep exactly. A Scorpio moon would keep every little detail personally to themselves. Maybe he would say, well, when I was informed of the bullying, he would not have said, when Katie came to tell me. Like, dude, you fucking idiot. Like, So Matt does the dumbass move of dropping the Victoria said shit to him, and then immediately I could literally see Victoria's brain in that moment. I could just I zoomed through her head, and it was just that moment of like.
You saw the light switch go?
It was. Oh. I saw the Terminator shift, and I saw the target land on Katie's face, and it was like, wee, 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 wee. Like that was scary. So then he talks about how Ryan talked about how what Victoria said about the dancing, the hoe comment, and he talks about how he wants to make this a safe space, which is about the millionth time. He said this is the first time of the night, but the millionth time later, he says this fucking phrase, safe space.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure was bothering all of the little conservatives watching this because they all hate the safe spaces, right? But now, then this is when he was like, when you said Ryan was a hoe for being a dancer, and she goes, that's completely out of context. And that's actually one moment where I'm like, no, it probably wasn't, Victoria. Oftentimes I might think that would be out of context, but with her, absolutely not.
I think that like saying something is out of context is Victoria's one and only, like, her go-to way to get out of saying stupid shit.
Because Matt calls her and goes, what context would that be acceptable in? And then she just stares at him.
And I loved it because I'm like, go ahead.
Yes. Please. No answer. I am obsessed with this moment because I was like, at that moment, because with Matt and Anna, I was like, all right, whatever. But with Matt and Victoria, this was hilarious to me. Like and then Victoria in her interviews she starts freaking the fuck out. She can't believe people think that she is making the house toxic. And then she says, now that I found out Katie is the one who sent him information, loser, Katie's not here for him. Not wrong, not okay. And then she does the true pro move, which is go to the bathroom because they can't film you in there. So she goes.
You're still mic'd up.
Yep. It's not even funny anymore because I'm getting feelings and invested. And then she says, I'm 2 steps away from going home and not dealing with this shit. Literally, there's no one in there that is good for him. I'm the only one in there with a fucking brain. And during all of this point, she's outside of the bathroom and all the women can hear her. And Brittany has a reaction face to that last bit. That there's no I'm the only one in here with a fucking brain. And I just wrote in my notes that she's full unhinged. And I have seen this meltdown before. I have seen it in my mother. Mars ruled Capricorns are terrifying. This is what happens to them. They literally lose their goddamn minds. She unraveled. I wish I could find I guess we could actually find the date. I need to go through. You found all the dates of the filming and stuff. So I need to go through and like track some transits from that time because I want to know what her transits were doing when this happened. Like about we're like the 6 episodes in. So it's probably a couple, like we're working with like a couple, like 3 weeks maybe. All right. So safe space, dancer. Oh, this is, yeah. Okay, great. So then we get back. MJ is saying this night's a hot mess. Victoria's crying, says she's scared to go to the rose store ceremony. And then this is when she's has a panic attack. You can hear they have it written I watch the subtitles. They have it written hyperventilating. And I'm like, yeah. And you can hear her. I think she's being dramatic, but whatever.
I would agree with that.
I never want to tell anybody they're faking any kind of panic attack situation, but with Victoria, I just don't buy it.
I think that it's probably,
and it might be a panic attack, but it's just like a panic attack come on by your own delusions. So.
I was just gonna say, like, best case scenario, it's exactly what happened to Sarah, and it's like he probably wasn't feeling well, but like, was she gonna faint? No, not until she like overthought it and like let herself. Yeah. So I think it's like the same type of thing. Like she worked herself up.
Yes, good call. So and then she ends up walking out. She's all good at the rose ceremony, and then off we go. We don't even get a speech from Matt. It was just boom. Brittany gets the first rose, and Ryan gets the second rose. And I was like, boom. Matt is making a point. He's like, bullied women, you stay. You are rewarded with high rose count, roses. So, Jessenia, in the meantime, is saying that she thinks that just Victoria should be scared. And during between like every name called, someone else is saying something about Victoria. So I stopped kind of keeping count. But it goes Brittany, then Ryan, and then Rachel, then Serena P, then Maggie, who I think Maggie is his like best friend, and he's gonna keep her for like top six just to keep her around because he loves talking to her.
I get that vibe too.
Every single time they have a conversation shown of them, they're both just like laughing around. He just thinks that she's funny, I bet. Yeah. Not to say Maggie isn't amazing, but Maggie deserves better than Matt. And I just don't get ring winner vibes from her. All right, so MJ next after Maggie, and then I have a note about how Victoria's crying, how she thinks that she knows that Matt knows she has got a good heart, which I bet was, you're right, a producer line that was fed to Matt, and then the producers were like, well, he told us that he thought you had a good heart. Yeah.
Just because, like, where? And then where's a sliver of it?
And then she goes, does he want a wife that's creating drama all the time, or me? Like, girl. This is why MJ's non-self-awareness doesn't bother me, because Victoria is the queen of non-self-awareness.
That can't be fucking real. That cannot be. I
need you to know that I firmly believe it could be real. I firmly believe it. I do believe it. No, I know it. I think it is. I'm sorry. Is she a Cancer, Capricorn, Venus? Hang on. Hold, please. Please, not Twitter, Instagram.
This is one of those things where, like, watching this back, I had a really hard time not like genuinely laughing.
She's Venus. She's literally living in a delusion. She's having a Neptune transit. Neptune right now. Oh, excuse me. Water. Neptune right now is in Pisces, has been in Pisces since 2012, also, which is why LOL. Remember whenever everybody thought the world was going to end in 2012, and that was actually just Neptune moving into Pisces. And now since then, people have a joke that we're in a simulation. Since 2012 has been the breaking of it. Anyway, fun fact, Neptune Pisces. Neptune is a planet of literally delusions, like illusion, fog, and having any kind of transit with Neptune. So Neptune in Pisces, if you have Pisces placements, I have a Pisces moon, I feel you, girl. There will be a moment where you're having this wild time, again, of delusion. And I wonder if that was exact I wonder if she was having an exact transit during this, because that's a mess. Also, she has natal Neptune and Capricorn on her sun. So like, that's also just like firmly living herself, and her own identity is a complete illusion. Delusion.
She's gonna have to come out and say that it was an act, right? Like, that's gonna be her next move, is to say that this is all bullshit, right?
I hope, but I don't know.
Even if it's not true. Actually, like, she has to say that.
Let's check to see what she's posted.
Like, you can't, how is she going to exist in the professional world?
Oh,
if she wants people to really
shot of herself. She's having fun being famous. She's not gonna, no, she's not. Look at, she posted a paparazzi self of herself walking her dog. And she tags the news, Splash News, which is just paparazzi. And she's in a mask though.
I'm actually
look
having
at the outfit.
Really...
Like, this is why she's posted it. Look at her body. Because again, she's out on the whole anti-body shaming thing. That's where and that's also the problem. That fucking video made her sympathetic to other people. And that's the problem, is that we should be able to critique these men body shaming her while also allowing ourselves to also know that she's a fucking nut job and that she like, we don't have to body shame her to know that she's an asshole. Like,
oh
yeah, and Olivia just leaned over to who was like, and she's probably body shamed other women. Like, her meme response to the whole thing was posting a picture of a fat man watching TV, watching contestants, like pretty women contestants doing stuff and judging them. And you're like, and also loving most people's defense is that, oh, well, that guy could never get Victoria. God, it's so fucking annoying. Yeah, again, nuance can exist, people. Anyway,
I actually feel like all about stupid because I can't. I'm not even joking. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to make a joke. I actually am having a very difficult time wrapping my head around like that being like it. Shannon, it has to be fake for me to believe that like.
I'm sorry that
this is shaking me to my core that someone like this could actually exist in the world.
My mother is this person. My mother, she is this person. Watching Victoria is terrifying because she is my mother. My mother walks through life with the same delusion. My mother is also MAGA. My mother is also a fucking conspiracy. Like, she would also think she's the queen of everything. Like, I'm not fucking kidding you. These people exist. And they're narcissists. That's what they're called. That's why they seem so jarring, because they are narcissists. So anyway,
I just really, I don't know if you like saw the gears turning in my head just then, but I'm like, oh my God, but she really.
Because to me, I'm like, nothing is new here. Nothing. This is exactly the arguments I have. The conversations when Victoria speaks over people and doesn't let them talk. That's my mother. When she doesn't, like, my mom's a Capricorn ruled by Mars, just like Victoria. It's the astrology is so similar. That's why it freaks me out, because it's like, holy shit, like, astrology is crazy like that, and it's real, and these people exist. So anyway, Victoria is so unself-aware that she's posting herself paparazzi in her, because she's the only people tagged in it. The only caption is at Coco Famous, her dog, and at Splash News, the paparazzi. They didn't even post her on her story. Where do they? It's like from, I don't know, whatever. All right, so wow, we haven't finished the rose ceremony. Okay, Jessenia after MJ, Katie, then Abigail, then Victoria's unraveling between all this. Chelsea, this is when I noted that Chelsea's in a different dress, because she's in a white dress during the rose ceremony and then a black dress when she's in her ITMs talking about it. And then the last flower goes to Serena C, and out goes Catalina, Lauren, Mari, and Victoria. Oh, and Anna, I guess earlier, was out too. But yes, it's finally clean, and I'm sad. It's funny to me because Mari was kicked out right after all of the physical group dates. That Aries stellium, she's all competitive. She's the one who won them all, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you win the group dates. You still get kicked out. 3 rose ceremonies in. I don't even I've lost count how many rose ceremonies we are. And then on the way out, obviously Lauren, Mari, and Catalina all hug Matt goodbye, and then Victoria hugs no person. She stands in front of Matt. This is why I know that you're like, this is not an act. This is her. She stands in front of Matt, arms crossed, and she goes, oh no, this was this stuff was not in front of Matt yet. This was her interview. She says, I'm upset because I know I didn't do anything wrong. I was invested and I cared about him, and I think he made a huge mistake. And then she stands in front of him and says, I honestly feel so sorry for you that you would listen to hearsay not all the facts about this situation. So goodbye. And that is a literal line also I've heard from my mother. So these people exist and they are the MAGA people. This almost confirms to me too that Victoria is MAGA, and that flag in her picture was not just her hairdresser. Blah, 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 blah. It was absolutely like she is. It doesn't matter. She's fucking MAGA. Anyway. Victoria's gone and I'm cleansed, and she gives him no hug, and then he says, he just stared at me, how dare him. Matt is a
what
jester.
Was he gonna say?
Matt is a jester. The fact that he chose Katie over me, I feel sorry for your choices. I'm never dating another Matt again. I hate that name now.
Okay.
And then during all of this, there are 3 cheers. Did you see this? I noted them all. First is Brittany cheersing to a new week, and then there is a middle moment, and then Rachel cheer. That's after one Victoria comment. They're cutting a cheers between Victoria. So first is Brittany, and then Rachel cheers again for random something I can't remember, and then Matt cheers to love. So we get 3 cheers, and they definitely literally film a fuckload of. This made me realize they film a fuckload of cheers all the time, and they just air the one that they want to.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, so that is that. 3 cheers. 3 cheers for Victoria leaving. Maybe that was the subtle. Wait, maybe that was the
like
subtle.
Read between the lines.
Yeah, like the producers trying to really Easter egg us. Wow, so that was the first hour of the whole episode. And the first, 2 hours of ours? However long we've been talking.
But what's crazy is like this is gonna fly because
all
this is how they've been. Is this not like the format? Is like the beginnings are always the really juicy parts, and then they like kind of trail off in the second half.
Yep. So all right, back at it, and everyone talks about how everyone's gone. Kit's like, yay, we get to pay attention to our own relationships. Chris comes in and is like, he emphasizes how crazy last night was, and then is also emphasizes time. Dark Lord Harrison always saying it's still a game of time.
But he made the comment that it's like halfway through, like it's half over, and I was like, holy shit, like we're halfway through already.
Yeah.
Why are there still so many people?
We don't because they added too many.
No, I know, but I'm just like, it doesn't feel.
There's gonna be a huge cut, I think, next. Anyway,
there's gonna have to be.
Rachel gets the one-on-one date. It's weird to me that they give this 2 one-on-one dates and 1 group date. Are they doing this for Matt because it's like scary for him to have multiple group dates? Like, why is this happening? Because like we're having multiple, like it's usually 2 group dates and a one-on-one. And that's why these women aren't getting
2 one-on-ones last week, did they not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like this season they've been doing 2 one-on-ones instead of they've been doing 2 one-on-ones, 1 group date instead of 2 group dates and 1 one-on-one, which is usually the case. And the 2 group dates usually split them more evenly and they have a little more time. But this time I think they're like, nah, fuck it. We're going to put 18 girls on a group date and we're going to make them fucking fight. Like,
yeah, I wonder.
And we'll give 2 women lucky moments. But anyway, so Rachel's date is about, a fairy tale begins today. And I'm pissed that MAGA Rachel has to get a date. And not only does she get a date, she gets a motherfucking pretty woman date, which is the classic phrase. And I'm pretty sure this is a producer phrase, not even just like Game of Roses or not even just like people who watch, but like
I want to give credit to Game of Roses because I like them best.
Yeah, I think it is from them, but I also feel like it is more because some of the terms they use even too are from the show, like Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
So I think the producers have done Pretty Woman, but if not, whatever. Because it is a very common date, which is to go shopping and try on a bunch of clothes for him, and then you go out that night in a new dress and y'all both look good. So that's what that was.
And you get to make all the other women jealous by bringing home all of your fancy things.
Yeah, you come home. It's the classic. It's the only date too. They always show the filming coming home in the middle of the day to change outfits for the nighttime.
And all the women have to be sitting there. Can you imagine being one of the women being called down and you know that you're being called down specifically because...
Yep. So anyway, he says another one of his repeat lines, which I have noticed, which was, you've been so patient when he sees her about the one-on-one, which he told Michelle. That's why I'm like, no, this was a one-on-one. This is a like script line in his brain, because he said that to Michelle, and like she hasn't. This now means to me that he's just saying it. He says he wants to spoil her, and then I wrote in my notes at this point, Olivia looked at me and goes, "He looks like a penis."
Well, thank you. I won't. Great.
Anyway, I know I had to write it down.
Same now.
So funny. Anyway, then this is when he describes her as, she's never the first one to run to me or the loudest in the room, which is like, this is to me is code for she's not the most loud and dramatic. So that means she'll be the perfect, like, follow me around, do whatever I want girlfriend, which honestly, she's a Libra sun, Pisces moon. So
maybe.
Also, fun fact. So I messed up Rachel's birthday. We messed it up by 2 days because her friends all post different days, apparently, because she always does birthday weekend things, Rachel. But her father posted on her actual birthday. So I found that later. So we were only 2 days off. So we were really close, but the moon is the only thing that shifts from Aries to Pisces, which makes sense. She actually has the Pisces eyes to me, which are the under eye moment where we always have a slight bag under our eye, and it's always just kind of like looking like droopy, but she has these big blue eyes. Anyway, white girl Pisces always have blue eyes. It's just like the tell. It's like my one tell with the white women. Anyway, where are we at? Blah, 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 blah.
They're just on the date.
I just made a fucking joke about how this was the most Libra date ever. Of course, she's a Libra sun and he's a Libra Venus, and they're literally just gonna be out here on this date trying on clothes. He gives her Louboutin shoes and she acts like she doesn't know what they are, which I hated for this moment. I'm like, bitch. She's like, I've never owned shoes that are more than $40. I'm like, all right, but also right.
I also don't believe that.
I also think they did this on purpose too, to play up her being like, I don't even know what Louboutins are.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was the fact that it was like, he got the box, and she knows what they are because she saw the red bottoms, right, and she knew exactly what the fuck they were. But right, the box said Louboutin on it.
Like, you should.
And it had the tape on it because they can't like show the name. So it had like one thin ass piece of tape, but you could see that it said Louboutin on the box. And she's like, what? Like, thank you, Matt. Like, producers didn't fucking pay for it.
Anyway, it was just very annoying. But I think they were trying to use this to juxtapose. Oh, actually, wow, this just came to mind that both of the dates, the one-on-one dates this week, were with Venusian women, and it was the two styles of Venus, which are so wow. Okay, astrology moment. Libra and Taurus are both domicile, or Venus is domicile in both those signs, which means that Venus is under its most comfortable expression during those with a Taurus and with a Libra. So Libra, though, I always describe Libras are the kinds of, all right, another good example too, other than Kit and them, are Gigi and Bella Hadid. So Gigi Hadid is a Taurus and Bella Hadid is a Libra. Bella Hadid, both of them are arguably gorgeous, right? But if you strip them away, everything away, Bella is a very symmetrical, like, she's very mannequin-like. Like, she's someone that looks better when she is dressed up to the full-blown, like, she is modeling. Like, Bella is an insane model, right? Gigi, also an amazing model, but when you strip her down, she has that classic beauty, that Hollywood natural beauty that people talk about, right? And that's very Taurus. So it's funny to me that Kit, so that being said, Kit gets the date that is the food side of Venus. Venus likes to indulge. Venus likes to enjoy. Venus rules our tastes. But then at the same time, Rachel, the Libra, got the fashion version of Venus, which is the shopping, I'm going to spend my money on this. I'm going to dress up, because Rachel is very pretty, but she's also someone that I'm always looking at Rachel being like, wow, that outfit. Yes. Whereas Kit is just wearing a fucking walking rack for her mother and is pretty, and she's a very distinctive face. Even if anyone has her opinion, even if her mouth is, she gives me that very wide. I just really wonder what her rising sign is, but I digress. So it's very funny to me that both of these one-on-one dates were Venus dates, and this group date was the exact opposite of Venus, which is literally shoveling shit.
the dichotomy in this episode. My
and
God.
So, but I also think they were trying to juxtapose. So my first thought, which led me to all that shit, was Rachel, I've never owned $40 shoes before. And then Kit, my life is all gold Bentleys and red carpets, but like I'm more than that. Woof. All right. So anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Like,
I'm just like, okay, this date. Oh, I wrote this one moment down that I noted with Matt. And this is when my friend was like, they make a perfect young Republicans couple, because he goes, she reminds me a lot of back home. She's from Georgia and we find the same things important. And I was like,
he was a college Republican.
Oh,
he was in like the Young Republican, whatever the fuck it was. He was in like an organization at college.
They definitely look like they would be the couple that's like, I don't see color, which also LOL Matt said that on Bachelor Happy Hour, I think, or one of the major Bachelor podcasts, which great. But he is fully checking her out every time she walks out. His Libra Venus is loving this. Like Libra Venus men really want women to look like this. Like they want this. They want to look good with their woman. And and Libra Venus men, when they can finally admit to themselves that yes, you are just going to be a little shallow and it's okay. You just have to find someone hot. Like that's why he's good on this. But then she's got these red bottoms and I was like, LOL. One of my friends was like, I can't believe she's the one who gets red bottoms. And I was like, red for Republican. Oopsie. So anyway, this is when she walks back in. All the women are jealous. Are the bottoms of your shoes red? Oh my God. Yeah, okay. Katie is getting stressed, and this is when we start seeing Katie get very like nervous, jealous. She's starting to unravel a little bit. The earth signs are getting shaken in her. She says, my Matt. She's out with my Matt. This is definitely the first time, this is like all the women are finally like, wow, he likes other women better than me. Piper's like, I see the way Matt is around other girls who have had one-on-ones and I feel like I'm falling behind. She gives a little bit teary-eye there. And then it's hard to see people getting what I want with no way of doing anything different. Oh, the poor Leo. She's super fixed. That Piper's chart is super fixed. So of course she's like, I can't do anything about it.
Did you see the moment where Matt and Piper are pushing Maggie up the hill in the wheelbarrow?
Not on show, but I saw it. Someone like posted it. They're cute.
It was so cute.
Again, friends. I think
love it.
Is it? Let me see. Oh, we get the group date announced, and Michelle reads this group date with, oh my God, with the strongest, dopest arms. Her arms are like reading this date. Like, yes. Anyway, so the group date is going to be, this is the classic, like, oh, who's going to get the last one-on-one? So it's Serena P, Bree, Katie, Piper, Serena C, Ryan, Michelle, Brittany, Maggie, Abigail, Chelsea, Jessenia, MJ. And then Kit is all super excited. She gets the one-on-one. She's all covering her face. And then Abigail's all disappointed and says she's confused. This is like, why is she even here if she's gonna not get a date? Like she's feeling left out. Because I get it, she got the first impression rose and we haven't seen much of her since. However, I was very pleased with this episode of Abigail.
They have a really good moment. And I feel like it's good that was her screen time.
I completely agree. So let's see. Rachel and Matt are now in their matching cobalt blue, which of course Libras want the mirror, especially Matt. But I actually thought they both looked really good. Rachel, that color on Rachel, like, oh my God, that was annoying to me that she looked so pretty in that color, that blue.
No,
and however, I will say I was very annoyed that she needed to have either better statement earrings, which she obviously did not have, or the girls were not nice enough to lend her because they were jealous, or she needed a necklace. Like it was either or, because the earrings
needed like the heart of the sea. Like she needed that like big ass.
Yes, she needs, but there needed to be something happening on her neck. It felt like she didn't have the right jewelry to pair it with, and none of the girls wanted to lend her anything. But she looked so good, and Matt was looking fire in his blue it was like a blue velour, like classic, like smoking jacket, you know? Anyway,
I'd wear it.
I would too. I'd wear both of them. I'd wear both the outfits, and that's on being queer. All right. So she says she's never been in love. Says a lot of it has to do with me. She's just some like, it's just like, I felt like I was undeserving. Like, you're out of my league. I don't have a lot of confidence, and that can be projected onto my relationships. She says needs to stop being so self-doubtful. He tells her just some vague shit like, you always have my attention. You're so subtle, but so sure of yourself. And then she talks butterflies, and it's just like, yay, butterflies. And she goes, I'm completely falling in love with you. Which is, this one I kind of believe a little more with Rachel than I did with Kit later. But I understand these women are smart game players. They know that they have to up this. They have to bring it up. We can't go into the next rose ceremony without an upping of that love moment. And so she does it. She says she wants to walk out together with him. So he says that he wants to share something, and says like, you're not crazy. He's like, says it all dramatically. And he's like, you're not crazy because I feel the same way. He keeps, I think, again, it's like another repeat line. I wrote that too.
It just seems weird because, like I said earlier, like I believe that they both have something, but like I guess I can see it, but like I don't know how the fuck we got here because we haven't seen anything other than Victoria.
Yeah, they spent way too much time on drama and not enough time on building these relationships and like showing us who these characters are. Other characters are, I mean. But whatever, he tells her and straight up says, Rachel, I'm falling in love with you too. And then gives her a rose. And then Matt feels really good to say, I'm falling in love with somebody. He says that to like the camera, like to the producers. He says he could really see himself proposing to her. And so, all right, that makes me think that she's the ring winner. Like, honestly.
It sounds like scary foreshadowing to me, especially considering we haven't seen anything else of her.
And she's getting so many Instagram followers. So it's like, how could it not be spoiled at this point?
Many.
God, it's fucking annoying. But anyway, then we get the farm group date, which I don't have much notes on other than that it's just like there are a lot of shoveling shit, and MJ hates the goat. Or the chickens. She's freaking out about the chickens and running away from them. And then she gets more time with Matt.
I'm an animal person, and I find it quite interesting that everyone says that animals are a good judge of character. Like, animals vibe on energy. Like, if my dog doesn't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. So because like I firmly believe that. And like I think that there was something to the fact that goat did not like MJ. And like even the farmer tells her like he doesn't like you, or like she doesn't like you. And I think it's like if the goat doesn't like MJ, I probably wouldn't fuck with MJ either. Mm-hmm. Like I trust that goat more than I trust the producers of this fucking show.
Yep, I completely agree. I completely agree. MJ was being, and also to me, MJ was just like, I agreed with like Katie, who was saying like, come on, just like do it. Like, it's not that big a fucking deal. Just like run around with a chicken. Like, we're all in these clothes.
Yeah,
like we're all gonna go back and take a shower. Like no one is like that. It's not that big a deal, right? So that to me is how I feel too about this, especially as a fellow Sagittarius, MJ. Like MJ, most Sagittarius are down for anything. Again, I also feel like maybe she's a Libra rising because I'm just like, girl, why the fuck? Just run around with a chicken. But she does. Katie also notes that MJ uses this to get more time with Matt because she's afraid of the chicken. I mean, this is always what you do. And injury, as Game of Roses says, also injury, fear, or illness play. Fear comes in handy on a group date because then the lead has to go check on you. And
it's like so really unlikable and it's really annoying, but it is a good way.
Very annoying to be afraid of a chicken that's not going to do anything to you. But I
did notice that on this, because this is kind of the setup for a conversation between Matt and Michelle later, but on this date, we get like the beginnings of Michelle kind of having the same. I capitalized the word allegedly in my notes because as I've stated many, many, many times, I do not believe Sarah. I think that she's a fucking phony and I won't believe that any of that was real. But I think that like we got to see the beginning workings of Michelle kind of doing the same thing that Sarah did, where it's like we have this connection, like we had our one-on-one, like it's so strong, and like seeing him with all these women the next day, like it's so difficult. Right. But it's interesting because I the reason I don't like Sarah is because I didn't feel bad for Sarah because I didn't believe her. But like watching Michelle do the same thing, like I believe Michelle. Like I get like the feeling of Michelle being actually genuine, whereas I felt that Sarah was full of shit. So I feel the sympathy for Michelle that like Sarah wanted me to have for her, but I actually feel it for Michelle.
Right.
Because she's just so much more likable.
We saw just like much better of a date between Michelle and Matt. They just had a better date. They only talked about Sarah's dad. You know, that was the only thing that they needed from that date with them. Anyway, so MJ is chasing Matt around playfully, and then Matt runs up on Piper in like a producer interview, and she goes, "Oh, haha, you want to get in my interview?" And he just makes the fuck out with her, and like, and this was a hot makeout, honestly.
I loved this.
MJ, I did too, because it was clearly, again, Matt it's so obvious when Matt is just doing things because the producers told him to, and they definitely was like, "Hey Matt, Piper's filming over there. You should just go run over and like make out with her. That'd be funny, right?" And he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, great," and he just did it, and no thought, right? And then 5 seconds later, they find MJ, and they're like, "Hey MJ, I saw Matt run over there, and he wants to talk to you." Or Matt run over there. You should go find him. Go get him back over to the group. And she's like, "Oh yeah, great." And she runs over and then runs up on them making out. Obviously flips. Everyone's like, "Oh my God." And then I was like, this was a peak producer moment. This whole date was just to make this stuff happen. It was just dumb.
Right. I would have been so pissed if I was MJ at the producers, because I'd be like, "You sent me over there knowing what was happening. Like, fuck you guys. Like, fuck off."
That's the name of the game.
Boom. And that's what you signed up for, ladies and gentlemen, if you applied to be on the show.
All right. Anyway, group date night portion. Wow. All right.
Matt does his shitty little toast, and then he grabs Chelsea right after, which I fucking loved. I love that he like took her aside.
Chelsea though is not cut out for the show though. I love her. I just think that all she's doing is just like, "I'm so awkward around boys." And he's like, "I feel comfortable." She says she's afraid to get sent home and blindsided. He asks what her thoughts are, and she goes, "Well, I like you." That's what you're trying to say. Like, I'm like, okay, but then
after he just had someone say that she was falling in love with him.
Yeah, like it was just a moment of like, Chelsea, like, I think she's awesome. Like, I want her on Paradise. I want her on my Instagram feed forever and ever. Like, but it's just like, she's not asserting herself to Matt well enough. But I think he really likes her though still. But he says he can't get enough time to dive into knowing her. Says he feels comfortable, and she just keeps awkward. She just awkward laughs and then goes, "Same." Like, she doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, and if we're seeing more, we're seeing it. We're not seeing it. Like, I don't know why they only chose to show us this awkward part. Maybe they're trying to play up that, even though last episode was so confident of her talking about her hair. Like, I'm like, I'm just all over the place with like wondering what this is about. But anyway, they kiss, and then Abigail talks to him, and this was my favorite moment.
Did she look like a different person to you during this conversation?
I think that she just is wearing a black dress.
No, I mean, like, she looked like herself. Like, she was obviously Abigail, but just like, we're used to seeing her so like radiant and like smiling. And like during this conversation, she really did seem like, I don't want to say like the life was gone from her face, because like that's not accurate, but like she looked like a different version of Abigail. Like, she looked different than we've seen her.
Yeah, she was nervous, but she said, first of all, is he in a new outfit? This was a moment that I was like, purple sweater? I did not notice. Oh my God, yes, I did. Sweater. That fucking sweater. I did notice that sweater.
But
I was like, was he in a different outfit from before? I don't know.
He looked like that fucking thing from McDonald's. What's that character? Grimace?
Oh, yes. I think maybe Grimace. Yeah, you're right. But so she says she feels defeated, and he asks what's wrong. She says she wants to be with him. She's afraid to disappoint him. And at this point, I was like, she's being vague. But then she goes, "So I know that we both share that we want to have a family, but I want to tell you," she's like, "if I were to have a family, like my birth kids, or like my kids will likely be deaf." And she said that her dad ended up leaving her mom because after like the cochlear implants for her and her sister, and that she's just like afraid. She's like, obviously my implant isn't a burden, but it's hard for me not to associate the whole like leaving, like our dad leaving this situation because of that. And she said that she's afraid to open up and that someone could do like that could somehow happen to her. And I immediately was like, God, yes, like everyone's been all over Katie being the Bachelorette, but I again hold to my prediction that it's going to be Abigail because of this. Katie is getting all of this edit of being involved in all of the drama, and which is fun for us. Like, we love her, but Abigail's edit, like, people are like, well, she's not getting enough screen time. And I'm like, yeah, but I think she's going to keep getting it now.
But that's it. It's like, yet.
Because also note, the second the drama with Victoria, with Anna, with all of the early players were done, like the second that was done, we see Abigail again.
Yeah.
And before that all happened, we saw Abigail a lot. I think they are actively editing her away from drama because they want her to be the Bachelorette. And
I would agree with that.
She's at least on the list. Katie's probably on the list too, because Katie would be fun. But Katie reminds me too much of Caitlin Bristowe at her time, what Caitlin Bristowe was when she was the Bachelorette. Like, we've already had someone like Katie. So, not to say I don't want Katie. I love her and would be salivating over a season of the Bachelorette with her. But I just really think it's going to be Abigail. I think they're going to continue on the woke train, and the only way they're going to be able to squeeze another white person in there is, oh, she's deaf. You know, the first hearing impaired, the first quote unquote disabled bachelor or bachelorette. Anyway, that's my thought on Abigail, and I loved her, and Matt did this well. He said his other throwaway line, which is, I can't imagine. Which I get it, cool. But then he goes, I can relate to having the single mom. He just validates her. And that was a great conversation. And then this is when you said, yeah, Michelle talks to him, says it's going to take practice to see him around other girls. She jokes about their date, and then they're flirty, and he's like, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's basically Sarah. It's like the exact same situation as Sarah, but we're going to see how it should have been handled. Yeah. Like, at first we saw the don't do, and now we're going to see the, okay, do this.
Exactly. Exactly. That's all Sarah needed to do too, was just reinforce your connection with him. Say that you missed it. Like, Michelle played the correct way.
But she didn't want to, because she wanted to go home to her boyfriend.
Yep. But anyway, so then we got a commercial, then we come back. Matt again mentions the safe space shit, and then he says, there's one more person I have to talk to, and he pulls MJ. And her body language, I noted immediately, was not great. Her shoulders were facing away from him, and she had her arm kind of like over like this, like she was a little nervous.
Awkward.
Yeah,
it was hard to watch.
Yeah,
for multiple reasons.
Yep, 2 Sagittariuses, man. And so he brings up drama, and he's like, and it meant your name came up as being someone who was an antagonist, and she says, I lead by example. Okay. And if I see something, I'm going to lead with peace and harmony. This is when, again, Libra rising is making me think this of her. Also because she's an Aries moon, and I just fucking feel like all of these Aries, these 7th house moons, there's so many of them.
I feel like MJ, okay, because remember when Sarah had like pissed everybody off, and then Sarah is trying to talk to MJ, and MJ's just like walking away, and she's like, now's not a good time for me to talk to you. MJ seems like the type of person who has so much anger and is like trying to do the peace and harmony thing, but like,
that's what I mean.
You're not quite there yet.
That's like genuinely what I feel like it means to have an Aries placement and also a Libra placement at the same time, because that is exactly the division, like what you just said. Aries is the sign of the self, of the sign of that forward movement, that aggression, that I will fight you, I will get out of it, I will make that move, I am angry. And the Libra is their opposite, which is I am passive. I go with what others do. I need a partner to tell me what to do things. It's that full opposite. I lead with peace and harmony. I'm a pacifist. But in actuality, Libras can be just as fucking spicy and like angry as Aries types. It's just that it takes them time. And you have a Libra Mars, like you know,
I like to fight. I like to fight.
I'm saying that's Libra. Like y'all can fight just as much. So I really think she's got to be a Libra rising, because she's got nothing else in her chart would lead me to be like, that's a for sure peace and harmony type.
Yeah.
But anyway, then Brittany comes to steal. MJ attempts to block it, and then Matt lets it happen. Lets Brittany steal.
She's such an idiot. She's like, 1 minute.
No, in a minute. Like she was
unless you're done. No, but she was just like, 1 minute unless you're done. And she offers him the out. We can
talk later. I think he was afraid. I think he didn't want to keep talking about it. I think he wanted that out.
Oh, no, I agree. But I think that if she had just said, like, can you just give me 1 minute? Brittany would have left, and then she would have had him for another minute. He would have been a hostage. Like, he wouldn't have wanted to be there. But like, she literally gave him up.
Yep.
So she didn't want to be there either.
So MJ goes back, and she then is talking to the interview, and it's like, it's just frustrating, and you don't need to talk about the other girls with him. And so she brings it up. She says she didn't like it. She goes, my character was put into question tonight. I was called an antagonist. I think I lead by example. And then my queen, Jessenia, Scorpio sun, Capricorn moon, fucking Jessenia comes through to be like, yeah, it was me, bitch. Oh! I was obsessed. Dude, this is Jessenia's Scorpio placements coming out, because
I loved it.
And she's a Mars in Cancer. Like, Jessenia's a little more. It's funny because they both have Venus and Sagittarius. No. Katie's Venus is in Capricorn. Mercury's in Sagittarius for her. Venus and Sagittarius. But Jessenia has a Capricorn. No, it's MJ has a Capricorn Mercury, whereas Jessenia has Sagittarius Mercury. So she has the same inclinations as Katie to say something, right? But the Scorpio in her is where she's like, I'm not afraid, bitch. I got my receipts. I know who I am, and I know what I'm about. And that's where she's like, I'm gonna say it. I lived. Scorpios always got their shit on it.
I love her.
Anyway,
I love her.
She goes, yeah, it was me. And all I did was I was mentioning that you were the one that brought up the varsity versus the JV stuff. Because she did.
Which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
Fascinating that's exactly what happened, MJ, and you just got called on it. Because again, Scorpios have the receipts. So and then they get us away from the group date, and it's Kit gets her one-on-one, which is dinner at my place for her card, and she freaks out. She's emotional. She told him that cooking was so important to me because me and my mom did it. And I'm like, wow, Taurus. Anyway, we're back at the group date. That drama inevitably is over. Matt gives a rose to Abigail. MJ's pissed and thinks that Jessenia threw her under the bus, and that's why she didn't get a rose. And I'm like, no, bitch, you didn't get a rose because you didn't talk to Matt about anything substantial. These bitches need to stop blaming other people for them not getting roses.
Well, it's like, it's so interesting because like I hate to be like this old bitch, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to be like this grandma. Yeah. But we're starting to see the entrance of the I know that, okay. I know this is going to sound dickish coming from a millennial, right? But like, we are starting to see the entrance of like the really entitled, like participation trophy Gen Zers coming into play. Yeah. So you're starting to see a lot of people, like a lot of contestants that are like, as we've seen portrayed with like Sarah and the women, like accountability versus bullying, like being a jerk and then being like toxic, and like seeing this, seeing these behaviors where these girls are like, I'm being attacked right now. And it's like, no, someone's just like disagreeing with you. Someone's talking to you and you're getting defensive because you are wrong.
Yep.
But like the concept of being wrong is like so unfamiliar to these women that it's just like, what?
Wow. Yeah, you're right. But you're right. So Matt says he is excited to have Kit come over, and she is very dramatic on the other side of the door. When he opens it, she's just standing there like, And then he's like, yeah, I don't know if you know about me, but I like to make dessert first. And I'm just like, no, y'all like to make dessert because they didn't trust you making actual food on camera.
No, he says he orders dessert first at restaurants, which I don't know why he thinks that's weird, because it's not. People do that all the time.
Yeah.
Matt, that's very common. That happens often.
The amount of food conversation with Matt is stressful, like all of on camera and off, because Sagittarius, Jupiter, we love food and eating, and indulging, but Jesus, some of us has to have taste, Matt. Anyway, they make cookies, which I'm sure is like the Nestle Toll House recipe, even though no shade to Nestle, love that recipe, but that's, well, there we go. But anyway, they make cookies. And this is when she's talking about, she's like, did you catch this? Wait. She goes, Probably. You can be the sous chef and I'll be the main chef.
Yes, I did catch that.
Damn it, girl, you were so close. Sous chef, head chef. That's all you got to do. So close. Chef de cuisine.
Or even just chef.
Chef. Like,
just chef is fine.
Main chef. Damn it. But then this is when she's like talking about in her interview, like, oh, like my life is so like gold Bentleys and red carpets, but I'm like down to earth. And then I go, is that what that is? And she says, falling in love's not easy for me. I'm not sure if anybody wants me for just me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you have money and you're afraid that people are gonna, okay.
About all the time.
Also, there are a bunch of fucking rich kids in New York. Go date them. They're not gonna need you for your money. What the fuck? You don't, whatever. So then she like feeds him cookie batter, but literally, whatever. Though. Is there dinner? I don't know. They make
I'm having like, I know we've been doing this for a while. I have a hard time like glancing over this date and like her whole conversation about that, because like we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic and where a lot of people have lost their jobs and a lot of people have had a really, really difficult time. And ABC thought it was a good idea
not self-aware.
To put somebody on the screen crying about, I was too well off growing up.
I was so rich. God, these Bentleys.
I was so rich that it was so hard for me. And like,
it was really frustrating to watch.
In this climate, when people are screaming, eat the rich. When people are screaming, eat the rich, isn't that like the fucking thing right now? And then you put a 21-year-old on TV that's like, but feel bad for me because like I was too rich.
I was too rich and no one liked me. Gee, I don't know. From what I've seen of you so far, I could tell why people might not like you. Whatever. She also says she feels like a shadow to her mom. So then they're just like sitting on the couch and they don't talk about like anything. And he's like, he likes their time together, and what would it look like after all this is over? She's like, this, and then he doesn't get it, and she has to explain, no, this, I mean, like, we will be doing this when we are.
I don't know how he didn't get it. I don't know where his head was at that he didn't get it. It was so sad.
But she says that she's starting to fall in love with him, and can we fast forward this and go home? And she gets the rose, and she says she has so much love in her life, but hasn't been able to find that in a romantic partner. And I literally goes, her PTC really was, I'm too rich and I'm afraid people won't like me.
No, but she's also 21.
I know. It's just so fucking annoying.
I don't know what kind of life experience, and maybe it's a testament to how she grew up, but like what kind of life experience does she expect to have at 21? Like how many, I don't understand like what her, like, of course you haven't felt that. You just turned, damn it. She was so annoying.
But anyway, we are done with that date finally. And then we get a big knock on the door to all the women pre-rose ceremony. And then it says, Bree reads, MJ and Jessenia, I need to know the truth. Meet me at the cocktail party before the women arrive. And then MJ is pissed. Jessenia goes to get ready. And then they go to this 2-on-1 startup, because it's just, at this point we have literally 6 minutes left in the episode. So Jessenia tells MJ just goes off and it's like, I can't believe I'm here, blah blah blah, whatever, you did this to me. Jessenia's like, the only reason I brought you up is because you lied to Matt, and you are the one that brought up all of this OG JCB versus varsity talk. And MJ is like not letting Jessenia speak. Like she keeps speaking over her, which is very frustrating because again, we have a white woman speaking over a woman of color on this show in this argument setting. And Victoria is usually the perpetrator and was earlier when she was speaking over Ryan and gaslighting Ryan. But now we have it with Jessenia and MJ, and it's just really fucking frustrating to watch. Like, because my problem is Scorpio Sun, Capricorn Moon, Jessenia is holding her fucking ground. She has every right to say every single thing she's doing. She is fucking nailing with it. And she says, who you are with us, who you are with Matt, and who you are with the cameras on are all different. And I just hope that the real one comes out tonight. And MJ is like trying so hard not to let Jessenia's words come out clearly. She's speaking over her because she knows that, and she keeps telling Jessenia not to speak over me. This is, again, another tactic that Aries and Sag people do whenever they think they know they're wrong. And she says to Jessenia, just because you're louder doesn't mean you're right. And I'm like, MJ, that's a mirror. MJ needs a mirror right now. Everything she's saying, she should be saying to herself. It's full blown projecting.
That's why Jessenia just like, you catch her looking at the camera. She's like
classic Jim Halpert, just like,
yeah,
what?
literally.
Yeah. And Jessenia's like, well, you'll find out the truth when all of this airs. And I was like, that was amazing. That was amazing. And MJ's like, you've done enough. I talk now. After like it was quiet and Jessenia tried to say something and MJ's like, no. But Jessenia, honestly, like, Jessenia is sitting there like, I fucking got this. Like, I got
yeah,
this.
she knows.
I am not concerned. I genuinely am not concerned for Jessenia. I think MJ will go home.
Well, I mean, even regardless of what happens, like, it is clear as day. Like, it's the same thing as Katie. Like, if Katie had been sent home sporadically, people would have been like, we saw what fucking happened. Like, we're not stupid. Yeah, exactly. So people are like gonna watch this, and even if Jessenia does go home, like, she's gonna be just fine because people are like,
yeah,
y'all saw that shit, right?
Y'all saw that shit. We all saw that. We saw the same thing. Yeah. But then we go to the previews because that's the end of the episode, and lots of crying in the previews, and Tyler Cameron makes his appearance at Nemacolin.
So does Heather Martin.
Yes, she does. But we see Tyler first. So Heather Martin also shows up, and I love how they fake her driving up to the thing as if she drove all the way there. Really ridiculous. But yeah, so next week should be intriguing, and the outro was just like feeding goats. I don't know, it was goat shit. But anyway, that was it. That was wild. What an episode. Can't believe it. Whatever, sure. I think I've been saying that over and over the whole time, every episode, but it was a mess.
It just keeps getting better.
Yeah. So game time.
All right, lady, hit me with it.
All right, this motherfucker is a Sagittarius moon and a Libra rising. There is no other answer.
Guess what?
Do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? Yeah. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
That's how we be feeling.
The Sagittarius moon is obvious to me now because, again, this man, if he had a Scorpio drip in his body, he would not have let the Katie thing slide. He would not.
He'd be able to handle this drama much better.
All of this, exactly. This drama, he is looking at it like a deer in the headlights. Like, what? Like, this Scorpio moon is someone that would be able to tactfully handle this and be able to also tactfully understand the emotions of other people. And that is not what's happening with Matt. Yes, he's all like, I can't imagine, la la la, these things. And so he's kind of playing the sympathy card, but it's not to the level of a true Scorpio moon being able to unpack this. Yeah, I also think he's a Sag, like, and so the fear of the fact that he's not saying much about himself, I just think that he's just not, I don't think there's much to say that hasn't been said already. Like, and that's where I think Libra, and also because I think his Venus is in the first house. I really think that he has Libra Venus. I think he's ruled by that domicile Venus, because watching that date, the Libra date today,
he was loving it too much for that.
It was too much. Yeah. But if that would put his Sagittarius stuff in the third house, which, like, honestly, I could see, like, he is just someone who's just like vibing through life. Also is literally known for being the best friend of someone, and the third house rules best friends. Fun fact.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
But anyway, yeah, what a time. Good shit.
I'm excited to see Heather Martin get her ass turned right around. She'll be there for an episode max. There's no way that'll be any longer than one episode. So
yeah.
That'll be a fun cameo for her.
Yeah, she's literally just dropping back into relevancy for a minute and it'll leave again.
She'll be sent home at the next rose ceremony. Like the rose ceremony that follows her arrival will be where she goes home.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. Good stuff.
Plug.
Astrology Chef, do the roses line on Instagram. Listen to this podcast. Rate us, please, somewhere. Like, tell us your friends to listen to this because our follows on Instagram are up and on it. But y'all need to listen to us because we're funny. We're funnier when we talk on the podcast. We are podcasters.
Make sure to watch us on YouTube. That's a fucking treat. Truly, it's a treat.
I think we look cute.
I think I did my makeup today.
Oh, I showered before this.
So we're doing it for you guys. Like so yeah, watch
I showered for y'all today.
Listen to the podcast. If you want to follow me on Twitter, because I have a Twitter now, like I said, it will eventually probably become the podcast Twitter. So if you just want to follow it now, you could. It's PT Jess D, but Jess is 3 S's.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be changing soon. So anyway.
I know, right? Just like constantly Bachelor tweets.
It's all it is. I like signed off and I'll sign back on Monday. Like I have no use for Twitter other than to live tweet The Bachelor.
I mean, it's funny because if you do the live tweets, I'll do live because I'm always on the stories.
I'm down for this division.
I live on the Instagram. Anybody listening to this, most of the time, if you're getting a reply from a DM, it's probably me.
Facts. And if it is me, I usually sign it Jess because I know that it's usually Shannon most of the time.
I'm just like living on the Instagram. But anyway. But yeah, follow us, interact with us.
We're friendly. I know we seem like bitches when we do this, but we're super nice.
We just gotta drag a little. Plus, I can say nice things about zodiac signs too, and I think I do usually.
If they start giving us reasons to say nice things, we'll say nice things.
Right. All right. Jess, love you. Mean it. Everybody,
it's been real.
Mean it. It's been real. It's been real fun. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.